This time on Thoroughbred, go behind the scenes into the world of thoroughbred horse racing. What does it take to make a horse race happen? What does it take to go home a winner?
When the gates spring open, everybody's eyes are glued, and that's where the action is. And when you hear the thunder and the hoofs coming down through the lane, it's just a real rush.
Join Bill Boniface as he leaves the farm behind for a day at the racing. "8 a.m. at Bonita Farm. Just for Love, a 2-year-old thoroughbred, will be competing at Philadelphia Park Racetrack in just a few hours. He won't train this morning to conserve energy for his race.
I'm strolling.
But his trainer, Bill Boniface, still has plenty of work to do before he can leave for the track.
Prospective bet going with Andrea on Libby Bean, and Tina when she gets back on Tonight We Dance Gal 3.
She's going to drop right in behind him, short man.
The Bonifaces have always done things their own way.
Miss Boniface, put a lip chain on.
They believe that keeping their horses at the farm, training on their own track, best prepares them to win races.
I don't have to rush my horses in and out off the racetrack. I can let them stand down and face down and relax and train at my own pace. Hopefully find the little things that mean a lot, see the little tiny things that mean winning by a nose or losing by a nose.
With 100 horses to train and care for, Bonita Farm is stretched thin. Only one trainer can be spared to go to the racetrack today, so Kevin will stay behind. Most racehorses don't live on a farm, but at the racetrack. On any given day at Philadelphia Park, 3/4 of the 1,600 horses that live here are on the track between 6 and 10 a.m. Unlike Bill Boniface, most trainers think keeping their horses at the track is a better strategy for winning.
Joyce, you got one, right? Willie Bob? It's an advantage to be able to take them from this barn, an environment that they become comfortable in, put them on the track, and let them run in the relatively familiar surroundings. I mean, they've seen the grandstands, and they've seen the turns, and they've seen most of the things here that they're going to experience, in the afternoon.
All horses have to be finished training by 10 a.m., so there's time to get ready for afternoon racing. Off the track, it's the grooms who spend the most time with the horses. Not only do they care for them physically, they need to know what's going on inside their heads.
It's an animal. It can't talk. It can't tell you what's bothering it, what's not right. They're athletes. Every one of these horses are an athlete. But unlike a football player or a baseball player, they can tell the doctor, they can tell their trainers what's bothering them, what's not right. A horse can't. So you have to do a lot of guesswork and be able to read your horse. It consumes you. It really does. You gonna be good today?
A.m. Just for Love is arriving at Philly Park after an hour-and-a-half drive from Bonita Farm. Jack, the Bonita groom, will spend the next 4 hours trying to get him settled down and relaxed before his race. For a young horse, making the transition from the farm to the track can be tough.
I refer to it like a country boy in the city. When they see all those horses and all that action and all that commotion, all those automobiles moving by, they're a little awestruck. Once they get into the swing of going to a race, they look forward to it, but they also look forward to coming back home.
Just for Love will be running in the 4th race this afternoon. A 3/4 of a mile sprint for 2-year-olds. One horse he'll be competing against is Riding the Dragon, who lives at Philly Park and knows the track inside and out. His trainer's confident about his chances, but she's worried about a factor she can't control: the weather. It's miserable. It's been raining for 2 days, and there's no sign of it letting up.
There's been so much rain lately that there's some washouts on the track, and I'm more concerned that the horse could hit a hole or an uneven spot in the track and take a bad step. That's my primary concern. A lot of times, if they're not real comfortable with the mud, they might sort of flounder a little bit coming out of the gate.
It's going to be wet, slippery, and dangerous. And besides possibly hurting themselves, some horses just don't like running on a messy track. The Bonifaces aren't sure how Just for Love will run in the mud.
You know your horse doesn't like that heavy mud in her face, and you know it's going to be real wet out there. You better let your rider know he don't like the mud in his face, so that he'll keep him outside a little bit, or he'll try to find a spot where he's not getting so much in his face. So, I mean, it's a whole new world when you go out in the slop.
All right, we're gonna start drawing what we can draw.
First race in the book.
10:30 a.m. Over in the racing office, post positions are being drawn, when each horse is assigned a place in the starting gate.
Private like Cousin Bud.
Today, many more horses than usual are scratching or dropping out due to the bad weather.
In the first race, scratch number 7, King's Highway. A scratch for 4.
Post position can be very important.
5, nose to nose.
On a green horse, a young horse hadn't started much, like Just for Love. It's better for him to be down on the inside, where they're going to have horses on either side of them. You know, the herd theory comes into effect, and they'll dig in and try harder with horses alongside and steer a straighter course.
You got it.
Just for Love drew post position number 2. With an inside position, his chances to win are looking stronger. Next, meet the hands that hold the reins.
Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to welcome you to Philadelphia Park on this rainy, miserable Tuesday afternoon here in the Delaware Valley.
Philadelphia Park has its own TV studios. They'll cover all 9 of today's races and transmit them via cable and satellite to North America and England. The first race starts at 12:30.
Yeah, you didn't get rained on.
Inside the locker room, jockeys are getting their silks on, scoping out the competitions and relaxing after their early races. It's also where they face their biggest rival off the track, the scale.
2 pounds.
Jockeys have to weigh in before each race to make sure they make their horse's weight allowance. If they're too light, lead slabs are added to their saddles to make up the difference. But usually, it's keeping the weight off that's the challenge. Staying light is so important, some jockeys don't eat the day before a race. Or they go to the hot box, the steam room, to sweat off the extra pounds.
2 pounds can mean you get fired or hired. So although 2 pounds doesn't mean a lot to an everyday person, it means a lot to everyone here. And it is something you have to think about 24/7, usually.
If a jockey weighs more than 115 pounds, he's unlikely to be hired. And except for a small fee, they only get paid if they run in the money. First, second, or third place. Despite the competition, jockeys belong to a close-knit community.
This is kind of like a second home. You get to know everybody very personally. It's like a family. But yet, if I don't win, we don't make any money if I don't win. The trainer doesn't make any money, the rider doesn't make any money, the owner doesn't make any money. So, everybody's friends. You don't want to see somebody get hurt, but if it's between you and me, it's going to be me.
The last place a jockey can get pointers before a race is in the paddock, where horses are saddled.
You listen to the trainer, and then it becomes between you and the horse. And a lot of times you throw everything out the window and just do what comes to you as you feel. And that happens quite a bit.
Any good rider knows that the instruction given by the trainer goes out that window when the scenario unfolds in a different manner. Unfortunately, some riders will try to follow the instruction even when things go wrong, and I think that separates the better riders from the not better riders.
Often, a race is the first time a jockey has been on his horse, so he has to rely on his skills as a horseman rather than confidence in a horse's talents. And as well as being an athlete, a winning jockey has to be a very quick thinker.
When you're making decisions, a fifth of a second is a length. So if you're sitting back there and it takes you a while to get that mind working to decide what you're going to do, if you're not sharp, you haven't exercised that mind and you're a bright person, then you're going to be losing lengths.
A lot of races are decided very close, particularly the big ones. So I guess what I would say is, you know, a good rider can make a bad horse good, but a bad rider can make a good horse perform bad.
The fans are just as eager to back a winning jockey. They've got money on the line. Wagering on horses has been going on for as long as horses have been racing. People place their bets based on odds set by the handicapper. It's completely up to him to consider a horse's record, condition, trainer, jockey, and a million other factors, and decide what his chances are of winning.
The trick of being a good handicapper is actually taking a lot of things into account. It's from doing it for 25 years. You know, it's kind of like, you know, just like anything. I mean, the more you do it, the kind of, hopefully, the better you get at it.
It's also his job to generate the trip notes, which become part of a horse's record written up in the racing programs.
Trip notes are, after the race is over, we write a footnote of the race. It's a little capsule of what happened during the race. And if a horse gets in trouble, it'll be noted in the horse's past performances.
Still, no matter how much you know about a horse, guessing which one will win a race is incredibly difficult. Horse racing is one of the most unpredictable sports. That's what makes it a horse race.
You really never know how a horse is going to run until you run him. And what you've seen in the workouts is usually what happens in the afternoon, but not always. Some horses, you know, they'll get stage fright in that first start. Maybe the second, third even. So it's the moment of truth when they get in the gate for the first start, and as a trainer, you're very keen to see which way it's going to go.
Next, behind the scenes in the announcer's booth.
It is Cellular Joe, who now comes with a strong three-wide run from third.
For a spectator, 12 horses running at 35 miles an hour around a big track quickly turn into a blur. That's why the track announcer's job is so critical and
Leads
entertaining.
it by almost 5. As they head toward the far turn, very fast opening quarter, 21-2.
Keith Jones is the announcer at Philly Track. He's announced over 30,000 races.
My primary goal is to be as accurate as I possibly can, also giving the people a feel for whether their horse is coming or going. Accuracy, paint a mental picture to the public, and if the situation calls for it, get pumped, get excited. You get 2 or 3 horses coming to the wire together, and I genuinely get excited, and I think that comes across when I call the race. With Gold Trick in 5th, but it's all Comrade Cat. They come to deep stretch, and he is still well clear. Comrade Cat comes bounding home a decisive winner.
During the post-parade, when jockeys walk their horses in front of the grandstand just before a race, Keith matches all the horses' names to the color of the silks.
Secret, the 3 is Comrade Cat.
He's only got about 10 minutes to memorize all of them.
Here comes Cellular Joe, Gold Trick, and Beside Myself, which is what I should be probably in the next 5 minutes or so. Beside Myself. I would like to have electrodes on my head someday that could read out my thoughts as I'm going through it. It's amazing how quickly your mind works. I mean, I'm in touch with my memory every day and every second when the race is going on, but what I found amazing over the years is just how many trains of thought you can have at the same time. Gold Trick is on the outside running 6th.
While Keith is memorizing horses' names,
outside horses open.
Rusty, the starter, is doing his last-minute race preparation.
You can stay there, Sean.
As the starter, he's in charge of getting wound-up horses loaded safely into the gate, lined up, and ready to break. Only when he's satisfied does he push the button to open the gates.
You got it! Go! People are betting their money on these horses, and they expect to get a good start at the starting gate. It's our responsibility to try to have that for them. You have to understand, though, that we are dealing mostly with 1,000-pound animals. We don't know what they're going to do. We're not mind readers. We try to do the best we can, and in most cases we do pretty well.
Rusty can get horses safely loaded in the gate, but they'll only break well if a trainer's done his job.
The intent there is that if a horse is relaxed with the gate and has been repeatedly made to stand there, that they'll stand relaxed. And if a horse is standing relaxed, weight bearing on all four legs, he'll generally outbreak the one that's pussyfooting around and moving back and forth and what have you, you see. So, you know, we strive to have that in them. It's not possible to always have it in every horse, but I think it helps us in the long run.
All right.
Getting nervous thoroughbreds into the gate is one of the most dangerous parts of racing.
3, 4,
Leading them in quickly and calmly requires an entire team of men.
So be careful. Tommy, I want you to pick up the 6 horse's tail and see how that goes. Last time he run, he was raring up, so I don't know if it'll work, but we'll try.
Rusty keeps track of horses that have acted up in the gate before. He assigns his toughest men to the potential troublemakers.
The rest of them, like I say, there's a lot of strangers, so spread out, be careful, and get them covered. You really don't know what he might do. They're trained, they're an athlete, they're high key, they're ready to run, and they know what they're here for. And they can do a number of things. They can do things in this starting gate you couldn't describe. They know how to turn upside down and flip all the way around, jump out over the back doors. They can do some horrible things. And it can be quite dangerous for the men and the riders.